Okay, so this is back to Rambam Bekius, and our goal is to finish the 7th perek of Hilchos Deios over the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sessions. Cool. Okay, so that we can start Hilchos Talmud Torah in the fall. All right. We're gonna Hilchos. So the standard procedure that we usually do is when we do a new mitzvah, we read it in the Sefer Mitzvos, then in the Minyan Mitzvos, which is at the beginning of the Hakdama, and then the Kotzeres, and then we do the Halachos. So, and then try to get like some semblance of like what the similarities and differences are. So we're doing mitzvah. Let's start with mitzvah Shin Aleph. Okay. Shin Aleph on that first page, Sefer Mitzvah on the right column. How do you translate Laragel? Like Miraglin. Yeah, so it sounds like to spy on, right? And this is going to be one of the difficulties just in terms of the words, because nowhere does the term Miragel appear in the Torah in the context of Lashon Hara or Rechilus, okay? So he says, so you'll see, first example right here, Lo selech Rachil be'amnacha. You should not go as a Rachil. You know what Rachil is? Gossip monger. You know what a monger is? Yeah. Peddlers is good. Yeah, I only know one type of thing they call a monger, other than gossip monger. You know the other one? Beer monger. Oh no, you're right. Let me rephrase my statement. No, I was going to say physical object. Fishmonger. Yeah. For some reason, fishmonger, fearmonger, and gossip monger. Fishmonger are people who monger in fish. To peddle fish. You know, I don't know why just those. No one says like a encyclopedia monger or like So I don't know what it is. Don't go as a gossip monger among your people. Amro, he said, Lo tehe. Okay, I've never seen this quoted. So Amru, they said, Lo tehe rach devarim lazeh v'kasha lazeh. That's weird. Don't be, right? Lo tehe, soft in words to this person, the kasha lazeh, and harsh to this person. Now that, yeah.
That seems like it would be a good thing. Like if you're like being
CEO talks to his 5-year-old child the same way he talks to his employees, and it's not good. Yeah. So the question is like, what is the rach and the kasha? Also, this sounds much more like a mida than an iter. Like really, like that's a ma'aseh iter. Like if you speak harshly to somebody and then you speak softly, but if you speak harshly all the time, then that's not us. Like And it also reminds me of something else we did in Hilchos Deios. What mida does this remind you of? I know you're going Kapara. Yeah, right. Total Kavara, right? Is the outside being the inside. So like this is like, I don't know why he's saying this in the actual Sefer Mitzvot, because Sefer Mitzvot, the goal of Sefer Mitzvot is to define what the mitzvah is, like so that when you say, mitzvah's kriya shema, you can translate that into like one action, like reading these 3 partials twice a day, So it's weird that this thing is weird on its own, but it's weird that it's in the formulation of the mitzvah, the formulation of the mitzvah. Yeah. But something about duplicity. And that's also like the spy thing. I feel like there is an idea of spying here somewhere where like spies, I guess, they withhold information that they are spies from the people who they're mingling with, and then they report the information back to other people. I wouldn't never characterize it as rach devarim lazeh v'kasha lazeh, but like there's like a duplicity or a hiddenness or something like that. Davar acher, another statement or another interpretation. Lo tehe kirochel, you should not. Oh, so this one's like a gossip monger. Oh, I get what's happening. The first interpretation was taking rachel b'derech drush, rochel from rach. This one is taking it as a monger. Okay. So it's 2 different interpretations of the term rachel. So this is, don't be like a rachel, like a monger or peddler who takes things and goes. Okay, which the Rambam is going to say it better in the Mishnah Torah. And included in this losase is the prohibition against slander. So what's conspicuously missing from the formulation here? Lashon Hara, right? Because there's 3 categories. We're going to see this today. There's Rechilus, and then the worst is worse than that Lashon Hara, and then Moti Shemra is worse than that. Weird, he doesn't even mention Lashon Hara. And if he didn't mention Moti Shemra, I'd be fine with that, because then he's just going based on the pasuk. But mentioning one and not the other, so I don't know what to make of that. Unless, what if he is mentioning Lashon Hara? Anyone see it? Maybe. I don't know if this is like a stretch. Maybe that's what he means by rach lazeh v'kasha lazeh. Maybe kasha means like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. Yeah. I don't know. It would kill 2 birds with 1 stone, though. but that doesn't mean that we accept it as an answer. Yeah. Okay. So that's the Sefer Mitzvos. I would say we're good. We're good, but we're not good. But we're okay to move on. Okay. Oh, also just for new people in this year, there's people on here also, by the way. We call this Rambam Bekius. And the measure of what counts as Bekius is we go in depth in stuff that we want to, and then we justify moving on when we say it's Bekius. But we do have a mission. I really would like to get done with the 7th perek by the end of next week. So we'll be okay. If need be, we can have an emergency session at some other time. But okay. So then the next page is the minyan hamitzvot and the Hagama. Very simple here. Top of the page. Shelo l'ragel. Shneimar lo selach rachel b'amecha. Nothing new there. Just shelo l'ragel is what we have to note. And then the next page, oh, I didn't include the commentaries in the packet. So let me just read the commentaries. I think it's the same. It's not in your packet because I didn't include all the commentaries. So the commentaries says shlo lahaloch Rachel. Don't go as a Rachel. So he does not say shlo l'Rachel. Don't go as a Rachel, which fits more with the pasuk.
Yeah, that also sounds like more of a Deios.
Halifa. I mean, yeah, right. Yeah. Did we have some sort of theory? I don't know if it's too late to remember. Do we have some sort of theory about whether he follows the lesson of the pasuk more in the commentaries than in the minyan mitzvot, or vice versa? All right.
I think we had it.
Isaac would be here then. Yeah. Oh, what? Do you hear me just say that now? I literally just said if Isaac were here. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. What a treat.
Yeah.
So I'll ask you.
Yeah.
Do we have any theory about whether the Rambam's formulation in the minyan mitzvos versus the commentaries, whether one of them follows the lashon hapatak more than the other?
I guess it's that one in
That's what I would guess. It's not what he does here, but I would guess that.
I think we noticed a lot of the times that
I don't know.
like we didn't see much disparity between the way he formulated the mitzvah and the way that the pasuk talk about it.
Yeah.
So whereas in the commentaries, it's very different.
Yes, right. So the issue here is he uses the term l'ragel, which sounds like meragim, which sounds like spying. But then the pasuk says rachil, which we're translating as gossip monger or gossiper. And the pasuk, to my knowledge, never refers to lashon hara or rechilus as meraglim. So like that's the weird thing. Now, let's do the first halach on the Mishnah Torah, because there is a footnote guy who helps with the term meragel, maybe, and you might just be disgusted by this answer, but we'll try it anyway. Let's first read the actual halacha. So we're in Shvi'i halacha aleph. Okay. Hamaraga b'chavero, someone who will not translate that. Okay, who is meragel to his about his fellow, I guess. Over below tase, he violates a lo tase. Shneimar, as it says, lo selech rachil be'amecha. You should not go as a rachil among your people, and we're translating rachil right now as gossip monger. It seems like that's the plain shot. Let's look at footnote guy now. Top footnote, meragel. Okay, so this is the thing you might hate. Merachel really is saying merachel. Holech rachil, and then it says osios gimel v'chaf mischafos.
Like an altar thing.
Yeah, there is basis to this. In Hebrew, there are certain letters that do change, like samech and sin, or like iyun and gim. I don't know what iyun and aleph is what I was going to say. So like he's saying that it's both g and ch. It's the same part of your mouth that you use to make the sound. So it's just the same thing. And then he also acknowledges b'hash Allah by way of analogy min rochel, from monger, Adam haholech v'raglav, someone who walks on his feet, lifnei sipure. Sorry, I just skipped something. Mimakom lamakom umocher es chorasa. Perek shvi'i halacha aleph.
It just came from Zoom.
Okay. Yes. Oh, yes. Still 100. Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Yeah, so that's his theory. It means the same thing. It is an easy answer because now we don't have to think. But yeah. Okay. So, and thankfully, the Rambam is going to define it halachically. So we do need to think about that. So before he defines it, and this is another weird thing that I don't think we've seen the Rambam do. He says how bad it is. Weird to say before you define it. Okay, but the alpha p in lokin alavze, even though you don't get malchus, and why don't you get malchus? It's a lav chain bomase. It's a losase that doesn't involve an action because speech is not considered an action in halacha. Avum gadolhu. It is a big. How do you translate avum?
iniquity.
Right? Is a big iniquity. V'gorem laharog nefashos rabos mi'Yisrael, and causes many Jewish souls to be killed. Really. Lakach nismach lo, therefore it is placed next to the pasuk that says lo ta'amod al dam re'echa, don't stand over the blood of your fellow, your friend, your comrade is what we said. Say u'laman ma'ir l'doeg hadomi, go and learn what happened to Doeg hadomi. Now, does anyone know that story well enough to say it?
Yeah, it's really really quote though. I feel like he has.
Does he usually walk us through stories, or he just?
I think when he quotes them, he talks about them. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, Telamad, the only other Telamad that we know of is Lavan, yeah. Yeah, right. And that's not even the Rambam, that's the Haggadah, which is a different format. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was when Shaul was chasing David.
Yeah.
And David hid in the city of Hanan. And Doeg Hadomi, who's called, his name is Doeg, but he's called like Doeg the Red because he told.
A great Viking name.
Yeah. Yeah. So he told Shaul where David was hiding, and Shaul killed all the Kohanim.
Right.
And so that's what it's talking.
Right. So what's weird about that?
It sounds like it's a very specific.
Yes. Right. It's not like every time you speak Rechilus, then a city of people gets killed. So why frame it that way, right? He does frame it that way. It's like if he just said fine, but the line that's problematic is "V'gorim laharog nefashos rabos mi'Yisrael," which sounds like a universal, and he reinforces it by saying that's why it's put next to "Lo samod al dam re'echa," don't stand over the blood of your friend, and then he quotes Doeg Hadomi.
Yeah. And it's been weirder because we mentioned that this is all in the first halacha before he even told us.
Before he even defined it, yeah, correct. So what do we make of all this? Oh, I have an idea, but yeah. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I have a full idea, but just that it could be that the specific like action that you're doing is not bad. Like you could have a thing where it's like, I don't know, eating like that itself as an action is bad for your midos. But then this action, the saying words is not necessarily a bad thing. It's just that it'll have negative consequences, and that's what makes it bad, that you're causing these negative things to happen.
That is interesting.
I don't know if it's true, but
yeah, I guess let's withhold judgment until we read the definition. I'm trying to think. Yeah, let's just remind me after we read the next halacha. Yeah.
I haven't thought about the fact that he said, but why he's talking about this extreme case.
Right. There's one more point is when we go back to the question, we have to think, what do we mean by bad?
Yeah.
Like if you're distinguishing between it itself is not bad, but it leads to stuff that's bad. Yeah.
Yeah. So not every time is it going to do this, but this is well within the range of consequences. Like if I if I say, if you steal, you're going to go to jail.
Right.
Not like every time you steal, you're going to go to jail.
Right.
But that's a totally possible consequence of your action.
Right. And it's not an accidental consequence.
Yeah.
It is a like for example, if you I saw this dumb thing at the beginning of the pandemic. I mean, it's a funny dumb joke, but like we shouldn't wear masks because like I had a cousin who like accidentally swallowed and choked on her mask. Like that doesn't actually happen, but like that'd be like a far-fetched thing. But this is people speak Rechilus, which we'll have to define, and as a natural result of that, it could get bad and it could get this bad. Right. I don't know why he says it first. I was going to say the same thing, but I was going to add only one more point, which is it's especially important to remind people of that here, not just because of the Isser, but because it's lav she'ein bo ma'aseh. So you feel like you're not doing any action at all. Like it's one thing if you like you do an action and you think like stealing, right? That, oh, I just stole. What are the consequences going to be? But there, at least you're doing an action. Here, it doesn't even feel like you're doing an action because people relate to their speech as just an extension of their thought. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess a point and a question, which is, I feel like definitely you could say maybe he's saying this. He's like trying to show you like a really bad case scenario of like what could happen, and like even though you might feel like you're not really doing anything, like it could get this bad. Like I think going in and thinking that's like a really bad case scenario.
Right.
And also, why is speech not an action?
That's a sugya.
Okay.
It's a good question, but it's a sugya, and I also don't know what the like if the I've never looked into the sugya. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, I don't know. Does anyone else feel like it's gotten a little bit muggier in this room in the morning?
Yeah.
Should we turn on the AC? Does anyone else know how to do that? I do. All right, fine. So I'll go do it. Your job, and this is a job. I'm not going to say for everyone. Yeah.
I see what you did.
I should say the Kitty Genovese thing because it's actually in lines. You know about Kitty Genovese?
No.
So there's this woman in New York who was in. I'll tie it into this in a second. She was in one of those like apartment complexes. I think the setup was like apartments, and then like that was open into the street. So I think she got like raped and murdered, and there were dozens of people watching. And no one ended up calling 911, right? So I think when the story first broke, it was like New Yorkers are garbage human beings. That was the like narrative. But then they looked into it and like I forgot what they called it. It's not learned helplessness. That's something else. It's a diffusion of responsibility. I think that basically everyone tells themselves, oh, someone else is calling, someone else is calling, someone else is calling. So what you're supposed to do if you're in an emergency scenario is you're supposed to like if you want to get someone calling, you point to them, you ask them what is your name, because you have to check and make sure that they are like in a mode to think, and then you assign them to go and call to call 911. And the reason why I'm saying this because it's relevant is this is helping us fulfill lo sa'amad adam recha, which he quoted. Okay, so there you go. All right, now let's define Rechilus. Ezehu Rachil. Which type of person is Rachil? That's another thing also, by the way. This is one where there is an action of Rechilus, but we define it, the public characterize it as a type of person. Right? You don't say like lo selech, like it's this is like a gabra. Okay, I don't know what that means. Zeshu toin devarim. This is someone who literally bears or takes statements. Okay, I'm going to say statements, things, statements, words. V'holech mizel lezeh, and he goes from this one to this one. V'omer, and he says, kach v'kach amar ploni. So and so said such and such. Kach v'kach shamati al ploni. I heard such and such about so and so. Afal pi shehu omer emes, hare zeh machriv es ha'olam. Even though he speaks truth, then this guy is destroying the world.
Isaac might have said this, but the reason he's being so rhetorically against this is because it's not a Misa.
I theorized that was the case, and I didn't even go so far as to say that's why he's doing it. I just said that you need that more here. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's reminding me of the
yes, right. You got to create a stigma here. It's a destructive action. Yeah. All right. So what's the so? I know we just read and translated it. So like, what are the parameters of this? Like if you, I don't know, like if I said, I heard Rabbi Ginsburg gave a good shiur this morning. Is that Rechilus? Like, I said kaf v'kaf. Oh no, sorry. If I said Ezra said that Rabbi Ginsburg gave a good shiur this morning, right? So and that is one thing, by the way. You notice it's you're taking statements, okay, and you're going from one person to the other. You're not. Rechilus is not you saying something. It's you reporting what someone else said or what you heard. Okay. So we're just gonna say that that's Asr? Like, like is that really it?
Gemara does it. The Gemara quotes everyone.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. What was it? Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's definitely modifying it that we're limiting it to statements about, not about, let's say like about or things, like someone said that it's raining or something. That wouldn't be.
But wouldn't that be according to this though?
Would it?
Where does it say it has to be about people?
Oh, the second one at least is about people.
Oh, Alpine, right? Yeah.
Maybe the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually.
Right.
This does not answer your question, but
yeah.
I think it depends on what the phenomenon itself is.
Yeah.
Is that you're taking so someone's like I think that's someone said, and reporting the fact that they said it as like independent, as like a fact to like share. Whereas when the person normally talks, they're expressing their thoughts, but they're not like, it's not like this is the thing that I'm saying.
So you're making statements into a subject of conversation.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's interesting. All right, that's a better definition. That does narrow it a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're not saying, I heard that, let's say you're not saying, or like, hey, I heard from some guys that were against shiur is good. Because then you're talking about rubbing against shiur. If you say Ezra said that rubbing against shiur is good, then you're talking about Ezra's.
Right, that's the event that you're talking about. You're talking about the fact that he said, okay, I like that distinction.
Yeah.
Right. That's Rechilus. So now, what does he mean when he says Hari said Makri Olam? Because is that the same as what he said before? That because before it sounded like he was saying the Goreim Laharo Nefashos Rabos from Israel, which means it sounds like, and this is why I wanted to wait to come back for what you were saying. Sounds like it's definitely clear that if you speak Rechilus, it can bring about destruction. But Makri Olam does not sound like Goreim Churban HaOlam. It sounds like it itself is a destructive type of thing. Now, and you don't have to say that, but I'm saying like, yeah.
Yeah, and it's interesting because like I feel like based on that, I would be more inclined to think that like the Rechilus that he's referring to is like only in regards to saying negative things, and like that's struggle because he's not specifying that.
Right. Yeah, that can be less than hard. Right.
Even if he's saying, even if it's true, and I guess even if it's
seems like content doesn't matter. Or like
good,
right. It seems like
still destroying the world.
Right. Seems like judgment value or content doesn't really matter other than it being about people's statements. Yeah. Right. So we'd have to go back and learn what Achitophel said, right? Did Achitophel, because it sounds like Achitophel just reported on where he was hiding. You're saying, is that what your question is? What? Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry. Did I say Achitophel?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Doeg, right? Sorry. Did I misunderstand your question? I think I saw this word Achimelech here, and it somehow converted into Achitophel here. So just say what you said again. Yeah. That's what we're testing out. That's how it fits into what? Kafukaf Amar Shemati Al Ploni.
Right. Talking about the speech.
What you heard. Right. Right.
But it's not. So it's not the event that someone told that like Ezra told me this, or don't they? That's what we're saying. Before.
Right. I guess this is slightly more refined, which is
I heard this about this morning.
Right. Because that, so I heard Rabbi Ginsburg's shiur was good is a statement about Rabbi Ginsburg's shiur. What was the other way to say it?
I heard the shiur was good.
Yeah.
No, but what was the middle case that you? Samati Al Ploni. Yeah. It's becoming slippery in my mind now.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not exactly sure what the I guess funny case would be, but this is. But then you're I get that you say, I heard that if you say I heard Rabbi Ginsburg's shiur was good, you're still talking about what you heard as a thing. Not that like I guess that's not exactly talking about Rabbi Ginsburg's shiur as something.
Mm-hmm. Well, okay, let me try a different angle. Since we got our definition from the first example, let's forget about the first example and get a definition from the second example. Mm-hmm. Okay, so what I think the second example fits into what people call gossip in general, which is like talking about people as a topic of conversation, like, and I know people define gossip differently, but like, like there's always this quote, I feel like maybe I mentioned this earlier in there, the famous Eleanor Roosevelt quote? Yeah. Hold on. Yeah. The quotable one. Great minds discuss ideas, average minds discuss events, small minds discuss people. Like that it's a similar idea to what we were saying before. It was like, you're discussing people. People are the topic of your conversation. That's what I would get about the second example. Now, can we what's the thing when you build something from? No, there's a fancy fun term to use. Say again. Something that sounds like that. What's the word I'm looking for?
What would you say?
It'll come to me. Can we work backwards to make a definition out of the first one?
Unsatisfying now.
So unsatisfying.
I mean, I guess both of those things are about people in that one is saying this is like what is being said. Like,
This is what the guy said.
Yeah. They're like analyzing the like they're talking about people in terms of their statements.
Yeah,
We're talking about the people in terms of what is being said about them.
right. Yeah. So does this help us?
Like it wouldn't be kaf asap only. That wouldn't be.
So that's a good question, right? Why not kaf v'kaf asap loni? Like why davka amar? Unless you could. By the way, the other thing, which don't tell certain Rambam learners that I said this. Maybe there are other examples that the Rambam could give. Maybe just two examples. I don't want to say that either. But like sounds like he's giving us the two examples that you need to construct this definition. And again, I got to go back. Like this is not the entire definition. It's zeshu toin devarim v'holech mizeh lazeh. Like there's something in there also, and the monger analogy. You're peddling.
Yeah.
You're trading in statements.
Yeah. I will say about both of these two things.
And right, and the miragling thing also, if we can work that in, not with the whole Chaf Gimel theory. Yeah.
I will say about these two statements that they're both about the speech. They're not about the thing itself. Like if let's say as a heard that let's say I was talking about the fact that I got married.
Yeah.
So one thing Ezra says, Isaac got married. That's a statement of fact. If you think I heard Isaac got married, then like he's talking about what is being said about me, which is not like treating the thing itself as a thing.
Yeah, I see that distinction. Something about it is lacking to me, but I can't. Yeah.
Can you also couldn't someone say like I heard Isaac got married as a way of saying like I'm not 100% sure that happened. This is
Right. Oh, so this is another thing I think we should be aware of. Yeah. When we're defining this, I think it would be a mistake to treat this as like a formula that we plug stuff into. That if you could replace kaf v'kaf with a specific and ploni with a specific, then that's automatically Rechilus. I think it is a way of talking about someone, and these are two examples of the ways of talking about them.
Yeah.
What those ways are, I don't know.
Yeah,
but yeah.
There's never seen it. I heard Isaac got married. Where you're like, I'm not sure if that's true. Versus, like, I heard Isaac got married.
Yeah, right. And this is the other. I hold on a second. When I used to teach this in high school, I looked up dictionary definitions of gossip. So just here are the three ones that I found that were good. And I'm not saying that that's what halakha is, or just to get our minds flowing. So Google, whatever they get their dictionary from, says casual or unconstrained conversation or reports about other people, typically involving details that are not confirmed as being true. Okay, now that's like gossiping in terms of like unconfirmed rumors, gossip versus fact. But that casual or unconstrained conversation or reports about other people, that's the element I like. Okay, like in terms of the definition. Wikipedia says idle talk or rumor about the personal or private affairs of others. Okay, and in my definition, and again, this was like not extrapolating from the Rambam exclusively, but sharing reports about other people's personal/private lives for the sake of entertainment. And I put that in, and I'm not getting that from the Rambam, other than from the mercantile analogy. Like you're trading in gossip, like you're talking about other people this way is a form of social currency, where like you wouldn't engage in this person in conversation, but you're like, oh, I got a juicy piece of gossip, and then that gives you like approval or like joy or something like that, and then and that's why you're going to different people. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, like with the statement, like I heard Isaac got married, like I just don't see how that's destroying the world. Like
right. We haven't talked about that also. Yeah. Well, okay. So I
talk about that all the time. Like,
Yeah.
Well, I heard Avi talks like that. Yeah.
I haven't thought about it, at least the first type of thing, how that's not for so long.
Yeah.
If
Sorry, the first type of thing, which what are you referring to? The cloning? Yeah.
like you're reporting about the statements that people.
Yeah. Oh, I have an idea too. Yeah.
Is that so? I'm not sure if this is like to the extent of Makar but if if you know that all of your statements might be like drafted and like quoted to other people,
Yeah.
and like that forces you to do like extreme censorship on everything you say. Like, if someone's like, Isaac says us to learn Gemara,
I was worried about that when you said it. Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
if like that's like the type of thing that's going on, then like, it just makes it impossible to have normal conversation. And conversation is essential for like society, people.
Right. Yeah.
Just to clarify, maybe what you're saying is like that you're using like speech not as a way of conveying information, but of like just enjoyment. Like,
Right.
it's like saying something that'll be the most exciting to people, not
Yeah.
trying to actually give them some kind of knowledge.
Now, where are you getting that from?
Oh, well, definitely from your from the Raphael thing.
Oh, from that,
honestly.
okay. I just want to make sure that you're getting it from that because it is weird. He does not specify content or by motive. He doesn't specify motive here.
Yeah.
And that's the flaw in my definition in terms of lining up with the Rambam. That like it's not. I feel like he could have said that clearer. And the fact that we're hinging it on Raphael, I don't know if I feel comfortable with that.
Well, I think we're just not as exposed to Rechilus. Like I think if like he probably like it makes sense that he would be conveying a lot with that metaphor.
Yeah.
But he's trying to make it like if we thought about
Right. Yeah. I mean, that is how the Torah of Esav expresses it. So like it does make sense that it's the fact that it uses an analogy in the statement of the action means that it's a loaded analogy. If we gotta take a field trip to fishmonger and just watch them and see what happens. Yeah.
What's the technical translation of Raphael?
Gossip monger. Yeah.
And how are we getting from that it's probably just saying what they want to hear?
Or take it for entertainment purposes because it's a trade. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
This is a trade-off, and it makes sense that that's what the trade-off would be.
And also, like a merchant doesn't actually care about the things he's selling; he just wants to get the greatest profit.
Right. That's also true. Right. That was the other thing also that was like lurking in my my definition. I didn't say this explicitly, but you are relating to other people as objects of your pleasure in that way, and not just the people. You're relating to their reputation, as like objects of your pleasure. You heard that so and so broke up, so like, and then you talk about it to someone to get a reaction. Well, meanwhile, you're talking about like real people and real like suffering or whatever. Yeah.
I haven't thought about Mivragel.
Yeah. Yeah.
That the reason that when you say like this is such and such is what the person said, like either the person already knew that, which is you not do that, or you're telling them something that was like information that was hidden from them in some way, and like maybe it's something that they're fine with, maybe not, and like but you're like almost like a spy who's like reporting on like this information that they didn't have access to.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. So not spying in terms of the seeking out of the information, but the
reporting of hidden information.
Reporting of hidden information, right? And I think that's maybe where I got the thing of in my definition of personal or private details, because I do think, I mean, I think it's such a, it's too you like the wrong because he's concise. It's a little too concise for my like. I wish he just like gave us more examples, But like, based on that and based on the spy analogy, you want to say that if this is, or even based on the Raphael analogy, if this is just known information, if this is just like a public thing, part of me wants to say it wouldn't be Rechilus, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like with the comparison to like a merchant who's like trying to sell something, like he doesn't care about what he's selling.
Mm-hmm.
Like that definitely is usually the case, but I feel like it doesn't have to be like necessarily true. Like you could have somebody who's selling something that like they're selling because they believe that it's the best possible thing.
It's not the usual. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
It's possible, and I feel like in the same way that's possible, it could possibly also carry over to here, where like somebody is saying something that would fall into this category of saying, like, let's say you're like quoting or you're saying like, oh, like I heard this Rav say whatever, like you really have good intention.
Yeah.
And like it would still fall into this category and possibly it's bad, but like in the same way that you could have merchants selling something they believe in, you could have somebody gossiping in something they believe, meaning like they're like trying to like help, but they're actually it's falling in that category.
Right.
So like I feel like it's just not as clear to make that jump from how we're learning from Raphael that like, oh, it's most probably like something for entertainment, meaning it is most probably something for entertainment
Right,
purposes,
but you're
like,
saying you couldn't, that shouldn't
it's
necessarily
not
be
for sure
in the
that
definition,
doesn't
yeah.
necessarily lie.
Yeah, and then also just to say like, it is more cumbersome of a definition if the intent is part of what makes it. Like it does sound like it's giving a content, intentless definition, like a content-based or style-based thing, like style speaking, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think like just he wouldn't necessarily be a Rachil then, like a monger, if he was actually carrying, like if he was selling something that he wanted, that he like, you know, some craft that he made
Right.
and he's like selling it, then he would be like whatever. I feel like there would be more. He wouldn't be like a merchant.
Right.
Like that, a merchant is more like it's surrounded like a house flipper.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
basically
Just gotta
like-
offload it,
Yeah,
get
exactly.
profit,
You have to
yeah.
buy it and sell it. And
Yeah.
If that's the case, then why wouldn't the Rambam mention intention? Because that sounds like
Well, he is, but I said
Right,
Rachil.
yeah, you're saying that that's just wrapped up into
Oh,
the
that's
definition of
what a
Raphael,
Raphael is,
and
yeah.
then the people in that society would know what a Raphael is, yeah. Yeah, I hear,
uh-huh.
yeah.
That's the default contention of Rambam.
Yeah. Okay, let's keep this in mind and move on. Okay, and I think it would be good also to let's move on to this one more category. And I do want to let this stew for a while and then come back to it tomorrow, like to just see if we have any more clarity. But I think this is a good like explanation. I had one more point though. Sorry, one more point. The Machriv, although yeah, the Machriv Olam, I have a different interpretation for that to differentiate it from Gorim, like it causes bad stuff. This is bad because however we define it, I think there's going to be a thing where like, again, going back to the Eleanor Roosevelt thing, the fact that people speak about other people and that's the topic of conversation is bad in terms of like promoting that as a value. Like that itself is a destructive thing, even if it doesn't result in like destruction. Like let's say we go with this idea that you're using other people's personal lives for entertainment, or like you're just trading in this without caring, like just caring about profit. You're not caring about like what happens as a result of your speech. Like that way of relating to speech is a world destroying way of relating to speech.
But is that just destructive to the person doing it? Because then everybody's sort of like that.
That's a good question. I think what I'm thinking about is with Olam. First of all, this is not destroying the globe, right? We're talking about Olam society,
Sure.
right? And I don't, and yeah, every Avera harms the individual, and individuals having imperfections harm society.
Yes.
I hear your question.
Wait, what's the question?
The question is like, doesn't every Avera like promote bad values in society? Like what makes this?
Also, what makes this?
Yeah, I mean, you could say
it's just another Avera.
well, you could say that this is it is much worse. You know, so it's worse because you are, first of all, I mean, we did took in Mishnah about this, about how easy it is, Chaim Hamavas Biyat Halashon. I don't know if that was our Mishnah or like the Monday Night Mishnah, but that it's very easy to trigger real world consequences for good or for bad through speaking. Like no evil dictator, and that's an extreme example. No evil dictator, if you were mute and you just had his fist, could like cause destruction. But like you say one rumor about a person and like it spreads like wildfire, or like or you like you say a compliment about somebody. And like that can start like a whole like it spread like the good reputation. It's like it's very very. Speech is the most world affecting thing that you can do. Why is that? I don't know if I have to explain that, but like I think that is a thing, and the ease with which you can do it means it's like I don't mean this in a state discriminating way, but it's like no, it's actually this is not state discriminating. I was gonna say like guns in Texas, but like I don't know if Texans actually like relate to guns that way. That if you have a availability and ease of discharging a weapon, and the fact that everyone has it just means statistically, like there are going to be more accidents. Like yeah, but that was not an argument for or against guns. I was just using an example of like when you have a powerful weapon on hand, and when everyone has that weapon, and there's no like way to know whether the person is using it responsibly, you're statistically going to have a lot more misfires. Yeah.
I have one more thought about the the Raphael analogy.
Yeah.
When so part of being a merchant is that you're dealing with things in bulk. You're not trying to just I think we were talking about like carrying a bag of wares. It's usually more of like a craftsman where they're like sculpting each individual thing. But like if you're a fishmonger, you're trying like you're getting like 1,000 fish each morning. And you're trying to sell them by the night. You're not like
you don't have a personal attachment.
you don't personal time. Yeah,
You
exactly.
just want to get rid of that.
Yeah.
You're just doing like you're just dealing with each one as like a sale and then moving on.
Right. Okay. I do feel like
And you're treating people like that.
yeah. Oh yeah. Right. You're treating information about people like that.
Yeah.
I mean, you're treating people like that also, but just I was trying to.
Yeah.
Shamati al Ploni, Amar Ploni.
Yeah, so now it seems like we're going away from the like now if you let's say you said like I don't know, you talked about like California wildfires.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Like peddling that information, seemingly that'll be the same issue of creating information and just like
So, but that might.
I don't know if that's destructive though.
Right, that was the argument I was going to make. Is that I don't know if it's destructive, and then it maybe this is where the be'amecha, maybe Rachil be'amecha means like holech Rachil be'amecha is relating to your fellow Jew like that.
Yeah.
peddling information about like comments.
It turns out the more we talk, peddling does sound like the best word to use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you're like getting enjoyment from sharing information about, let's say, about the world, like that's not like in any way bad.
Right.
That's not, like I'm not saying you're like,
Let's say you really like birds,
yeah.
and you are a bird information peddler. What's that going to harm? Like,
Yeah.
fine,
Yeah.
Right. So why? Yeah. Oh, and it's only harmful because of for people to do it about people.
Yeah.
Because, like spread things.
Yeah, it has real world effects on the people, like and here's the other thing also is like, and I think we're going to see this more in Lashon Hara, but ready to go deep and scary for a second. No one actually interacts with other people. Okay, you don't interact with other people. You interact with your idea of other people, and they interact with their idea of you. Okay, you can't. A real person is too complex of a phenomenon, and you only ever see part of the person and or parts of the person and have limited information about the person. And so this is the crazy thing. I mean, maybe I'm jumping the gun here, but if you were actually interacting with real people, let's say like bodily harm, okay? The only way to bodily harm someone is to harm their body, okay? Meaningless statement of the day. But all other interactions with people, it's their reputation and their people's idea of the reputation is too narrow. People's idea of them is like your idea of me, your idea of me, your idea of me, and that is how I exist in the world. And same thing with the way I relate to you. And you're peddling in that, like that's the thing that is being like used willy-nilly, haphazardly, without thought, for whatever purpose. So you're directly like destroying, or you're risking destroying that. I don't know if that clarifies anything, but like.
So why is that a necessary distinction?
Because I think there is this feeling that like I am not actually harming anyone, and I'm saying like no, you're not actually harming anyone because you never interact with anyone. But who do you interact with? I don't know what the right word is. The image of you in people's minds is the only way we interact with each other. Perception. Yeah, right. And like that's the thing that is being peddled and damaged and harmed. It kind of makes it funny that like in the Doic, not funny, in the Doic case, people got actually killed. But again, that just shows like the actual like
the effects of
external harm in the external world that can come from it.
So do we explain how the person who is saying Rechilus is harmed? Because I guess he's viewing the person just as like a source of his entertainment.
So it's funny because it sounds like he only focuses on the Doic example.
Others, right?
Was it?
It sounds like focusing on the harm to others.
Oh, I would say the Doic example is about how the victims of Rechilus, subjects of Rechilus, can get harmed. Then Machri was only talking about how the Rachel causes harm. But you're asking about the one about whom it's spoken?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question.
Wait, the one about
One who's saying the Rechilus.
Oh, the one saying it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So yeah, we danced around it, but anyone want to say? How the person who's speaking Rechilus is harmed?
well, I mean, when you do something like this, you're entrenching that as like a thing that is like worth your time and like it's a value to you.
Right. Like I think this is the first thing that comes to my mind. If you grab two sharp knives and then you just run into a crowd with your eyes closed going like that, you're gonna harm people, you know? And I feel like that's what happens with Rechilus with speech, you know, and the range is much bigger than knife range.
And why is that harmful to you? Just when knives are on.
Well, do we even need to go into that? Why it's harmful to you? I mean, we can, but like,
Well, no, I see how it's harmful to the people around.
right? Because that's the only statement he says. It's mockery as olam, not mockery as nafshecha.
Okay.
You know, right? I mean, like we can talk about that,
Yeah.
but yeah. But I feel like that would be like a separate question.
Yeah.
Lashon hara, yeah, right.
Right.
For Lashon hara, he does talk about the effect on the speaker.
Well,
Yeah. So let's read Lashon hara now. I mean,
Presentation, like the vision of speech and
Yeah.
Davos, where he has like neutral speech, but talking about
right.
this not even Rechilus as an issue, so it's not considered the neutral speech where it's
Right.
not, the way he presents it here, that it kind of is like neutral and
Yeah, but what we're saying is it's not really neutral, right? We're saying that the manner in which you're speaking about the person has an element of impersonal, like a cavalier, like
Otherwise, it wouldn't be strong enough.
yeah, right.
also to point out, you're not interested. He does say like awful piece to Omer Emetz.
Yeah.
Like it's not you're not interested in the truth value of what you're saying. Like it
Oh,
might
that's
happen to be
right.
true and
The true value is irrelevant to
Yeah,
this, right? That's
exactly.
true. Yeah. Right. That's why, and that's the thing with perceptions, right? Like you're saying, like it's funny because like we care about truth as a value. The only thing that actually, well, I can't say the only thing. I don't want to say that about truth, but like the thing that often actually affects the world is just perceptions. You know, what I think my mom has a magnet on the refrigerator that says a lie can make it around the world before the truth has put on its shoes. You know, it's church of pride. I didn't know that. Yeah, right. But it's like truth unfortunately doesn't walk very well. You know, it doesn't spread very well. But a lie can make it all around. And it'd be a good question to ask why that is.
well, because it's more entertaining.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just so in other words,
The thing is,
right.
a lie can be tweaked until it's the most interesting thing, but the truth is always just going to be the same thing.
Right. Also, the lie comes with, if the lie is told for entertainment purposes, it comes with built-in incentive to share it with someone else. Whereas, let's say like a false bird fact, you know, if it gets on Wikipedia, then it might spread. But no one is just like rushing around like trading in fake bird facts. Yeah.
Right. Also, I think it's not just that it can be tweaked until it's like it can be tweaked in any way. So it can be like with the tweet something can be feeling to be like very uncomfortable if you don't want to do it. Like here, it can be tweaked until it's something that's just comfortable. Like you're like, oh, that's nice. Okay,
Right.
like, I'll take that. Like
Right.
you can just do what you can mold it how
Yeah.
you want until it's like just comfortable.
Right.
For you.
And that's what the good God birds do, is that they are very good at reading who they're talking to and then like tell it
Right.
accordingly.
Exactly.
You know. Yeah.
Yeah. I just have another thought about the
Yeah.
So this is not like a maybe it's not like given like definition, but it's given like a sense of like the type of phenomenon it is. I think these are two like very salient examples of the type of like thing of the definition of gossip
Yeah.
that you're saying. It's not saying like a formula.
Right.
It's not exactly a formula, but it's
Right. That's okay.
it's some mix of
Finally. Yeah.
it's some mix of intent and purposelessness
Yeah.
and maybe something like malice that come together in like, hey, did you hear this thing about this person?
Yeah, right. The finally is I don't know if I'm just accepting this because I'm eager to accept it or if like it actually makes sense, but it always bothered me that he doesn't give a formulaic definition. But this is the first answer I've heard that there's a reason why he's not giving a formulaic definition, because it doesn't lend itself to a formulaic definition. It is the type of thing that is in the manner of speaking, which again we can still explain it, and I do want to get that a little bit clearer, like for next time. But yeah. It's like that. I won't say the specifics, but it's like there's a famous court case about something, and the I think it was from the judge who said like I can't define it, but I know it when I see it, and that's like this is in that category of phenomena, Yes, yeah. Okay, so let's do this. What?
What was the insight? Like, why is it not lend itself to?
Because if you formulated it, first of all, I just don't know if one's possible. If it's possible to formulate it.
It's not like a structural thing.
Yeah.
It's not like you can say, if you're saying it for, like, if you're saying it with, malicious intent, then it's usher. But if you're saying it because you think it actually would be good to share, then it's fine.
Yeah, like
it's not like something where there's not something that can be like. It's not like, I mean, it might be true, but it's not like a halakhic. It's not like halakhic category you could say where it's like this is the like this is fine and this is not.
Yeah, like I'm trying to come up with an example of something else that's in this category, and like the first thing that I came up with is, and I don't maybe this is gonna be shot down right now, is if you said give me a formulaic definition of shevach, like
Right.
saying something good about somebody, like is that really capture the?
Yeah.
And I'm saying like the act of praising, like the act of being mishabeach, like
Right.
saying it to the person, like you have to say to the person, is it about the person? Is it like are there not ways, or maybe a broader one is like can you formulaically define showing appreciation for someone? I don't know, like one of these things, like
Right.
if you try to put it into a formula, it's not gonna fit because it's the way you do it and like many types of state. I don't know.
What's the innocent?
The Irachio.
Nah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, but I do want to get a clear concept of it, but all right, so should we fine, let's do that then.
Yeah.
Let's do it now. I was gonna let it. I mean, we can still let it sink in also, but yeah. So what do we have?
But just another example of the type of like not exactly sort of thing. Like if you're trying to define, let's say, what is the sensation of avos? Like it's like
That's where you're drawn on after.
That's what's the but like if you're trying to categorize exactly what like how to experience that like it's not something that's doable because it doesn't lend itself to like clearly quantifiable categories.
Right. But there still is a point where you hit like
There's
now
a
you
real
have
point, and there's a real category that you can either be Avos Hashem or not Avos
Right.
Hashem, but it's not something that you can say you have to experience this like X, Y, Z in detail.
Right. Well, yeah. Right.
Yeah. I mean, you can talk about it.
I mean, he does describe it, doesn't he?
He does describe it, yeah. But like, it's not something where you can say, where you can like clearly list all of the parameters,
Right.
And like the same sort of way.
So can we define it? I mean,
Yeah.
or can we do whatever it is that we can do?
Right. Well, I think it's like as you're saying that it sounds like it's kind of like we need to I don't know what the term is, but like with the chart where you have like thing, and then
Venn diagram? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, it's not like
Oh.
a grid type of
grid.
thing.
I
Oh.
don't know if I can use the word grid.
Yeah, they're not called grid. Yeah.
Yeah, there's just the word for it, right?
Yeah.
God knows. Yeah, that
See, if I said,
Yeah.
I heard,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he has that.
Yeah. But see, this is the other problem, right? Is that there are lots of other types of harmful things you can make about people that aren't Rechilus. It's not just, we can't extend our definition so much for like any,
Yeah.
But that would be left out.
Right.
that would be left
Well,
out.
no, I think.
Like if that was not a true fact.
Right,
that'd
that's
be
true,
left
yeah,
out.
yeah.
I'd be spreading a false one.
Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah, let's read Lashon Hara, raise questions and then think about it and then try to come back tomorrow to define Rechilus. Yeah, okay. Yesh avon gadol mizeh ad ma'od. There is a iniquity that is much greater than this, very great, ad ma'od, exceedingly. V'hu bichlal loves it, and it's included in this.
How is it greater than it included?
So would it would mean what?
Yeah.
Is bichlal Lashon Hara is bichlal Rechilus is included in
But
Rechilus.
it's also greater than Rechilus.
Yeah. Rechilus is the broader category,
Yeah,
and this is a subcategory within it.
I'm
more
It's a
familiar
part
with
It's
of
in the
the-
same love. It's not in the same oven.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
it's in the same.
Like if let's say I say, there's the law of damaging another person. And one type of thing I could do is poking you with a sharp object.
Mhm.
That's one type of thing.
Poking with a sharp word.
Yeah. like cutting off your arm is a worse action.
Right.
But it's in the same like broader category of like damaging a person.
Right, and you could also conceive of the way of that's how Torah V'Ksav would say it, is like if you had a thing, thou shalt not poke your fellow with a sharp object, then and the law were structured that way, then certainly cutting off their arm, would be there. And the fact that it's the lesser version that is expressed as the way the iter is introduced doesn't like mean that a more severe one can't be included in it. There's a lot of negatives, but you got to. Lashon Hara?
Yeah.
No, not according to the Rambam. Yeah. I think does the Ramban hold that it's a separate lav? Is that
I
thinking?
feel like there's some people who hold this like 3 laws.
Yeah. Oh, I meant to have a PSA first of all. At the very outset, it's too late for that now. But I believe the Chavetz Chaim has a completely different definition of Rechilus than the Rambam does. I've heard that stated as like a thing that like the Rambam's definition of Rechilus and like the Chavetz Chaim's is different. So I meant. It's a good question. No, it's Torah. Yeah. Okay. So what is this? What is this law? V'hu lashon hara. That's lashon hara, evil tongue, evil speech. V'hu hamasaper bigenut chavero. This is speaking of the degradation of one's friend. Afal pish amar emes, even though he spoke truth. Okay. So this is the easy definition. A degrading statement that is true.
Wait,
Well,
is that
I know.
about P-Jews or
Right.
like?
Aval haomer sheker, but one who speaks falsehood. Moti Shemra al Chavero Nikra. He's called a Moti Shemra on his friend, a slanderer, right? So the three things are, you got Rechilus, which is the large category, which we have to define better. We have Lashon Hara, which is more specific, which is degrading speech. That's true. And then Moti Shemra is clearly degrading speech, which is false.
But it's not within it. It's like these are two.
Yeah, I was just going like this in terms of like how specific the categories are. It really is two different categories, but it's like, yeah.
Oh,
Actually, no, maybe
That's
I
what
am.
I'm
No. Meaning, hold on. Even according to the way he says it is interesting because aval haomer sheker motzi shemra chavero nikra. Do we say it's included? Because he is speaking begenut chavero, right? Meaning begenut.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Well, unless it's
I think
not
the awful the
The alpha means that it is the larger category.
No, I think he's focusing on the fact that it's usher, and it's a bigger avon as that's usher, which is usher, even though it's true.
Right.
Like,
So the alpha P is going on the
It's you're saying something that's totally true.
right.
But even still, it's still this big avon.
Yeah.
And so there's like basically the avon of Rechilus, and within that there's the avon of Gunus Chavero, and then within that there's two subcategories which are not two different avons of Decker and Emes.
I'm saying
They are avons,
Yeah.
but it doesn't say there's another avon of doing most of the
Right. It's just you're called a Moti Shemra.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't think it's the same avon.
Well, let's just bring the halacha and then there's this other one. Aval bal lashon hara. Okay. Zet sheyoshiv. You have to be sitting. Ve'omer kaf v'kaf asa ploni. Oh, see now he does say asa ploni.
Right. Yeah, that was his case.
Oh,
The case we brought up before.
yeah, right. Kaf v'kaf asa ploni v'kaf v'kaf hayu avosav. Such and such were his predecessors or his parents. The kaf v'kaf shamati alav. Going back to that. The omer dvarim shel ganai. Yeah, but all of this is dvarim shel ganai, so it's not exactly the same as before, right? Degrading things. Al zeh hakasav omer. Regarding this, the pasuk says, "Yachrit Hashem kol sipsei halakos lashon medaberet gedolos." May Hashem cut off all smooth lips a tongue that speaks great things. And great things, I don't think he means great, like great. I think he means like great and terrible things,
Like
you know?
grandiose.
Yeah, I don't know what he means. It is a good question. Yeah. So let's stop for today. Let the gossip definition or the Rechilus definition, like I really would like to get a clear definition, you know, as clear as we can, and then we'll come back to this tomorrow. Now, see now in terms of, okay, I'm going to stop the recording because question about later here. Okay.